Greetings, adventurers. You're listening to The Quiet Journeys of Professor Atwood with me, Professor Atwood. I'm glad you're here, and I can't wait to tell you about my latest journey. Don't worry, it's a safe space. I'll handle all the danger for you. I designed these stories to help you relax, chill anxiety, and go to sleep. Maybe they'll even put a smile on your face, even if it's a sleepy smile. So please, settle in, relax, and prepare to quietly drift off with me to parts known, unknown, and even some places in between. Comfortable? Very well. Let's get underway. Good evening, adventurers. I hope you're doing well. As you remember, we were all set to watch my friend Benny and Alice get married on his secret vacation island over the holidays when things took a bit of a turn. Alice was a bit superstitious and accidentally saw herself in the mirror with her wedding dress and needed one more accessory to counteract the supposed bad luck. Now, as a scientist, like I said before, I have some rather strong feelings about luck and superstition, but I'll get more into that later. After a lovely and scenic walk through the jungle on Benny's secret island, we arrived at the pirate lounge on the other side. Oh, and yes, normally a trek through the jungle isn't always lovely and scenic. But Benny had not only cleared a path, he had carved stone steps by a waterfall and created some scenic lookout areas along the way. From there, we could view the ocean and enjoy the brightly shining sun as its warm rays reflected off the water. Once in the pirate lounge, Alice examined various accessories, but sadly, nothing suited her. It was a problem, and she simply wouldn't get married without the right accessory. And it's not like there was a giant marketplace on Benny's secret vacation island. Or was there? Anyway, I'll tell you all about it in a moment. But first, I need to tell you about a few things. First, I'd like to nudge you to rate the show with a bunch of stars. Reviews are great too, but ratings with stars will awaken the sleeping algorithm. That algorithm then starts pushing the show to all the people who may not know about it and may need it, and then they can discover it. So it's very important for sure. So please, rate the show and add some stars. If you want to add a review too, that's extra great as well. It's always nice to read pleasant things about what we're doing over here. Thank you, adventurers. Now, it's a new year, and before I mention the White Cat Adventures Club, I want to talk about something new. Some of you may not want a membership subscription, but still want to help the show. I get it. So we've created a one-time Science and Adventure Helper donation link on the homepage. So just go to whitecatentertainment.com and click Donate for a one-time donation. Then you can do it whenever you like for whatever you like. Want to drop $20 every few months? Great. Or if you want to just donate a fair amount one time or once a year, that's all just up to you. Every bit of science and adventure helps. But if you do want more, there's the White Cat Adventures Club. How about early access and ad-free listening to all the shows and an exclusive look at my very semi-weekly journal? Science and exploring is expensive, and your support helps make it happen. For just $5 a month, you could show your support for the show. $10, you get a couple of soundscapes and some graphic novels periodically. $20, you get a t-shirt. So do it your way. Go to patreon.com/whitecatentertainment and pick a tier. You could also go there from the White Cat Entertainment website too. You could click through. However you wish to help is much appreciated. Now, let's get back to the story. We were still in the pirate lounge on Benny's secret vacation island, looking for an accessory for Alice to wear with her wedding dress to undo the traditional bad luck of seeing herself in the mirror in her dress. It's a bit of an odd wedding superstition as far as they go, but most of them are. But luckily, it's one that does have an out. One more accessory would negate the bad luck. Unfortunately, there was nothing in the pirate lounge that struck her fancy, and it left us with very few options. That's when Byron, our former hidden pirate, found the secret door. Pirate lounges do not normally have secret doors, as the lounges present everything out in the open, so the pirates could relax and not have to worry about booby traps, curses, the British Navy, intentional or unintentional poisonings, or rum-fueled duels often brought on by a perceived inequitable distribution of loot and treasure. So it was a bit curious that there was a secret door in a pirate lounge. However, once I saw what was behind it, I had a pretty good idea as to where it led. I shined the light from my flashlight through the doorway to reveal stone stairs leading down, and heard the slow rumbling of gears and pulleys as small mirrors positioned themselves to maximize the light. Everything looked startlingly familiar. The bioluminescent moss that began growing brighter from the carbon dioxide we were expelling by the entrance simply confirmed it. I mean, bioluminescent moss, an underground tunnel, and a directional mirror system. This could only be an entrance to the underground market. I smiled and thought that if I was correct, and this tunnel did indeed connect to the underground market, Alice would have no trouble finding an accessory. I mean, the underground market was huge, and let's face it, they owed me a favor after I stopped the entire market from collapsing by assisting the Lost Earthers with an unusual problem involving a rather small dragon. The crew, well, except for Bradley, looked at me quizzically, including Byron, who had never seen something like this before. I explained it was not a pirate initiative, although they had most likely built the lounge here because of the easy access. Although it seemed this entrance was in disuse for even longer than the one I accidentally found in my garden. I explained to everyone what the underground market was and recapped my adventures there, from exploring an underground river to meeting the Lost Earthers and engaging in a proxy conflict with an underground dragon with a mechanical toy soldier. Everyone seemed fascinated, including Byron, and Dolores and Alice were smiling, thinking, as I was, that if this tunnel indeed worked out and led to the underground market, there would be a plethora of accessories to choose from. We all walked through the hidden door and descended the stairs to the underground tunnel. The bioluminescent moss lit the way, and the light it gave off was strengthened by our exhales as the moss absorbed our carbon dioxide and converted it into light. The tunnel was warm and welcoming, just like the one I accidentally found in my garden. I then explained the concept of commercium, the rare element that the whole underground market was built around. Commercium allowed us to enter the underground market from different entry points all over the world and transport us to the underground market almost like a fixed wormhole, again with the wormholes. But the interesting thing, it didn't quite act like a wormhole. It marked us on the way in, and we could only return via the same conduit. So no hopping all over the world from the underground market, and only the Lost Earthers knew all of the secrets of the commercium, as the managers of the underground market learned when they tried unsuccessfully to build new conduits on their own, and almost collapsed the entire thing. The Pirate Lounge tunnel seemed a bit older than mine, but that may not have been the case. But it had clearly fallen into disuse. We walked down the tunnel, enjoying the pleasant glow and the ornate architecture. Despite it being clearly not used for a very long time, it was in excellent shape, and the bioluminescent moss was springing back to life as we passed it, and the small powered mirrors shifted to maximize the tunnel's illumination. I mean, the Lost Earthers, they do good work. It was impeccable engineering. I thought about what had brought us here, with the wedding superstition about good and bad luck, and thought about all the different concepts and theories about luck itself. You see, luck is the phenomenon and belief that defines the experience of improbable events especially improbably positive or negative ones. The naturalistic interpretation is that positive and negative events may happen at any time, both due to random and non-random natural and artificial processes, and that even improbable events can happen by random chance. In this view, the epithet lucky or unlucky is a descriptive label that refers to an event's positivity, negativity, or improbability. Supernatural, and decidedly unscientific, interpretations of luck consider it to be an attribute of a person or object, or the result of a favorable or unfavorable view of a deity upon a person. These interpretations often prescribe how luckiness or unluckiness can be obtained, such as by carrying a lucky charm or offering prayers to a deity. Saying someone is, quote, born lucky may hold different meanings depending on the interpretation. It could simply mean that they have been born into a good family or circumstance, or that they habitually experience improbably positive events due to some inherent property, or due to the lifelong favor of a god or goddess in a monotheistic or polytheistic religion. Many superstitions are related to luck, though these are often specific to a given culture or set of related cultures, and are sometimes, perhaps even often, contradictory. For example, lucky symbols include the number 7 in Christian-influenced cultures and the number 8 in Chinese-influenced cultures. Unlucky symbols and events include entering and leaving a house by different doors, or breaking a mirror in Greek culture, or throwing rocks into the wind in Navajo culture, and ravens, well, doing pretty much anything in Western culture. Not the raven's fault. Anyway, some of these associations may derive from related facts or desires. For example, in Western culture, opening an umbrella indoors may be considered unlucky, partly because it could poke someone in the eye, whereas shaking hands with a chimney sweep might be considered lucky, partly because it is a kind but unpleasant thing to do, given the dirty nature of their work. Now, granted, these are very odd examples, and most chimney sweeps will shake your hand before their work begins, not after, unless they make the choice to be deliberately and chronically impolite. Many polytheistic religions have specific gods or goddesses that are associated with luck, both good and bad, including Fortuna and Felicitas in the ancient Roman religion, the former related to the words fortunate and unfortunate in English. Daedun in Nubian religion, the 7 lucky gods in Japanese mythology, mythical American serviceman John Frum in Polynesian cargo cults, yes, that's a real thing, and the inauspicious Alakshmi in Hinduism. The English noun luck appears comparatively late, during the 1480s. It likely entered English as a gambling term, and the context of gambling remains detectable in the word's connotations. Luck is a way of understanding a personal chance event. Luck has 3 aspects. Number 1, luck is either good or bad. Number 2, luck is the result of chance. Number 3, luck applies to a sentient being. Before the adoption of luck at the end of the Middle Ages, Old English and Middle English expressed the notion of good fortune with the word speed. Speed, besides good fortune, had the wider meaning of prosperity, profit, abundance. It is not associated with the notion of probability or chance, but rather with that of fate or divine help. That's why adventurers are often wished Godspeed on their journeys. It's polite and sounds quite formal. Always a good way to send someone off on an adventure. Now, as we look closer, luck refers to that which happens to a person beyond that person's control. This view incorporates phenomena that are chance happenings, a person's place of birth, for example, but where there is no uncertainty involved, or where the uncertainty is irrelevant. Within this framework, one can differentiate between 3 different types of luck. Number 1, constitutional luck. That is, luck with factors that cannot be changed. A place of birth and genetic constitution are typical examples. Number 2, circumstantial luck. Factors that are haphazardly brought on. Accidents and epidemics are typical examples. Number 3, ignorance luck. That is, luck with factors one does not even know about. Examples can be identified only in hindsight. I think this could also be called cop-out luck, when someone is blaming their luck after the fact. Now, this is where science and luck begin to cross paths, at least in a fanciful way. Circumstantial luck with accidental happenstance of favorable discoveries and/or inventions is serendipity. In other words, you've got mold on your bread, but you discover penicillin, and hopefully you didn't eat any of that bread by accident. Is that luck, serendipity, both, or simply the same word for the same thing? Another view, and I'll admit I share this one, holds that luck is probability taken personally. I always loved that saying. Anyway, a rationalist approach to luck includes the application of the rules of probability and an avoidance of unscientific beliefs. The rationalist thinks that the belief in luck is a result of poor reasoning or wishful thinking. To a rationalist, a believer in luck who asserts that something has influenced his or her luck commits the post hoc ergo propter hoc logical fallacy, that because two events are connected sequentially, they are connected causally as well, in general. Event A happens, the luck attracting event or action, and then event B happens. Therefore, A influenced B. The gambler's fallacy and inverse gambler's fallacy both explain some reasoning problems and common beliefs in luck. They involve denying the unpredictability of random events. I mean, a gambler says something like, I haven't rolled a 7 all week, so I'll definitely roll 1 tonight. And probability says otherwise. And like I said before, there's a series of spiritual or supernatural beliefs regarding fortune. These beliefs vary widely from one to another, but most agree that luck can be influenced through spiritual means by performing certain rituals or by avoiding certain circumstances. In other words, pretty much all of our wedding rituals and traditions. And of course, the reason why we were in an underground tunnel headed to the underground market at this very moment. Now, this is where luck gets even more interesting. Some evidence supports the idea that belief in luck acts like a placebo, producing positive thinking and improving responses to events. In personality psychology, people reliably differ from each other depending on 4 key aspects: belief in luck, rejection of luck, being lucky, and being unlucky. People who believe in luck are more optimistic, more satisfied with their lives, and have better moods. People who believe they are personally unlucky experience more anxiety and are less likely to take advantage of unexpected opportunities. One 2010 study found that golfers who were told they were using a lucky ball performed better than those who were not. I have a feeling that was conducted by Professor Alden, who would really just use any excuse to go golfing. But again, neither here nor there. So luck has indeed been studied. Different thinkers like Thomas Kuhn have discussed the role of chance in scientific discoveries. Richard Wiseman did a 10-year scientific study into the nature of luck that has revealed that, to a large extent, people make their own good and bad fortune. His research revealed that lucky people generate their own good fortune via 4 basic principles. They are skilled at creating and noticing chance opportunities, making lucky decisions by listening to their intuition, creating self-fulfilling prophecies via positive expectations, and adopting a resilient attitude that transforms bad luck into good. The bottom line, positive attitude, positive outcome, of course. Luck can also correlate with superstitious behaviors that increase opportunities of good fortune occurring, like avoiding walking under ladders or blowing left and right for safe travels before crossing train tracks, which inadvertently increases your chances of seeing an ongoing train and not being hit by one. I never really thought about it that way, but I suppose that's quite true. Now, if we could invent a superstition that would make it bad luck to text and drive, that may improve the quality of life in Los Angeles, especially. Anyway, we continued walking along the glowing tunnel, bathed in a warm, comfortable light. We were admiring the architecture and the skill the Lost Earthers had put into every underground market corridor. Soon we were, as I expected, at a large ornate door with carved images of merchants and scenes of commerce. Large stone columns framed the door, giving everything an elegant and old-world feel. I smiled and asked if everyone was ready, and they all nodded. I grabbed the large door handles and pulled, and nothing happened. I pulled again, still nothing. Everyone helped out and gave it a try together, yet the door simply would not budge. This was puzzling. The underground market was open to all, and yet this door was clearly and unequivocally locked, and locked from the other side. There was no keyhole or deadbolt on this side. Honestly, I didn't even think the underground market doors had locks. I puzzled over this for a moment. There had to be a reason this door was locked. I put my ear to the door and could hear the bustling underground market on the other side. I wondered again why access from this entrance was denied. As I mentioned, the underground market was open to all, so a locked door was decidedly counter to that philosophy. Bradley suggested we just knock. Dolores was a bit apprehensive, even though I explained to her the innocuous nature of what was behind the door. But she complained about not having a defensible position in the phosphorescent moss underground tunnel. I told her caution was appreciated, but not really necessary. We didn't need to defend against shopping. Despite Dolores' protestations, I knocked. There was no answer, and I knocked again. Still nothing. Then there was a faint but nervous, "Hello, can I help you?" from the other side. I explained that the door was locked and we couldn't get into the underground market. The voice, sounding confused, confirmed that indeed, this particular door was locked. I said I understood that and would like to have it opened. The voice then mumbled something about this being way above his pay grade and thought he would need to tell his supervisor. I asked if he could just get Eben, the underground market liaison. I was sure he could straighten things out. The voice and the confused guard it belonged to seemed to agree, and I could hear the relief in his voice that he wouldn't have to make his own decision after all. We heard footsteps as the guard departed, hopefully to get Eben, the underground market liaison who I helped out with the Commercium tunnel business a while back. While we waited, everyone took turns putting their ears to the door, curious as to the market on the other side, and Byron especially admired the locked door. As being a former hidden pirate, he was definitely a fan of ornately carved doors. After about 15 minutes, I heard Eben's voice from behind the door. Before I even spoke, he said there could only be one person who could possibly be behind that door. Professor Atwood, I presume? I confirmed it was me, and he immediately apologized for the treatment and scolded the guard for keeping me waiting and instructed him to open the door immediately. The flustered guard fumbled with his keys, and then I heard him drop them. Then, eventually, he put them in the locks. Turns out there was more than one, and I could hear the clicks as the old locks creaked, groaned, and finally, begrudgingly, released. Eben enthusiastically swung the door open with a big smile, saw I had brought some friends, and welcomed us all to the underground market. But then his smile faded when he saw Byron. He said as happy as he was to see me, there were no pirates allowed in the underground market. Since Byron was a former hidden pirate, I was surprised to see that Eben knew he was a pirate so quickly, and of course I was now beginning to understand why the door was locked. Byron sadly nodded. While he had never been to the underground market, and honestly thought it was a myth, he knew that the concierges there were able to spot a pirate from a mile away due to their diligence after an incident and a falling out between the underground market, the pirates, and the British Navy. Byron explained. Pirates, he said, had a system of hierarchy on board their ships determining how captured money was distributed. However, pirates were more egalitarian than any other area of employment at the time, In fact, pirate quartermasters were a counterbalance to the captain and had the power to veto his orders. The majority of plunder was in the form of cargo and ship's equipment, with medicines the most highly prized. A vessel's doctor's chest would be around $470,000 in today's values. Byron added that there was also a time when jewels were common plunder but not popular, as they were hard to sell, and pirates, unlike the public of today, had little concept of their value. There is one case recorded where a pirate was given a large diamond worth a great deal more than the value of the handful of small diamonds given to his crewmates as a share. He felt cheated and had it broken up to match what they received. Now, the savvy pirates, for instance, the ones who formed pirate lounges, obviously understood the value of a good gemstone. Ordinary seamen received a part of the plunder at the captain's discretion, but usually a single share. On average, a pirate could expect the equivalent of a year's wages as his share from each ship captured, while the crew of the most successful pirates would often each receive a share valued at around $1.17 million at least once in their career. We all paused for a moment, none of us realizing pirating had been so lucrative at one point. Byron nodded and continued. One of the larger amounts taken from a single ship was that by Captain Thomas Tew from an Indian merchantman in 1692. Each ordinary seaman on his ship received a share worth $3.5 million, with officers receiving proportionately larger amounts as per the agreed shares, with Tew himself receiving 2.5 shares. It is known there were actions with multiple ships captured where a single share was worth almost double this. Now, obviously, the British Royal Navy could hardly compete with these salaries. However, although the Royal Navy suffered from many morale issues, it answered the question of prize money via the Cruisers and Convoys Act of 1708, which handed over the share previously gained by the Crown to the captors of any pirate ship. And not just pirate ships, this act came in handy during wartime as well. Technically, it was still possible for the Crown to get the money or a portion of it, but this rarely happened. The process of condemnation of a captured vessel and its cargo and men was given to the High Court of the Admiralty, and this was the process which remained in force, with some minor changes, throughout the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. There was a great deal of money to be made in this way, so things went back and forth for a while, but eventually the British Navy got the upper hand. Admiral Nelson always bemoaned that he'd done badly when it came to prize money, and even as a flag officer, he received very little. This was not that he was a bad commander of captains, but rather that the British mastery of the seas was so complete that few enemy ships dared to sail. A victim of his own successes, Byron added. But again, Byron thought parts of these stories were merely legend, like the underground market itself, but it turns out these agreements with the redistribution of wealth, I suppose that's a polite way of putting it, were causing trouble in the underground market when the Royal Navy sailors and the pirates would both enter the market at the same time to spend their earnings. Also a polite way of putting it. Byron admitted that pirates, well, were not so great at controlling themselves, especially when spending fairly distributed ill-gotten gains, so a ban went into effect for all pirates at the underground market, effective in perpetuity. All underground market concierges had to go through extensive pirate recognition training, and it turns out Evan was first in his class. That was why the door from the pirate lounge was permanently locked, a first for the underground market. I assured Evan that Byron was not a threat, as he was a reformed hidden pirate. I trusted him and told Evan I would appreciate it if he would be allowed to enter as long as he stayed in my custody. Evan thought for a moment, did mention that this whole affair was highly irregular, but ultimately decided it would be incredibly rude to refuse a request made by the man who saved the underground market. His smile returned, and he once again welcomed all of us to the underground market, including Byron. But I could tell he wasn't completely comfortable with it. We all walked in after him. The sights, sounds, and smells of the underground market pleasantly enveloped us, and for me it was a familiar feeling, but for everyone else they were amazed, as it was their first time. I smiled as I had the same reaction my first time here. The market looked like it stretched on for miles, and people from all over the world were busy shopping, haggling, eating and drinking, and socializing. The earthy smell of roasted underground market chicken skewers was a familiar and welcome aroma. Evan saw me look over towards the roasted chicken stall and insisted on treating us all to lunch, as he said it was the least he could do for everything I had done to save the underground market. Evan brought us to an open-air, a relative term, underground, food court, and had some market concierge members bring us all different foods to try. From my favorite, roasted chicken skewers, to a root vegetable salad, to a mushroom casserole. As you can imagine, the earth was the theme here, and it was a celebration of everything the earth provided, including the commercium which made the market possible. Even the desserts were amazing, from earthy snickerdoodles to a wet-bottom shoe fly pie. Evan asked what brought us here, and Alice explained her wedding luck dilemma. Evan listened attentively and then smiled. He said she was in luck. They had a whole section of the underground market that sold nothing but jewelry, and jewelry you couldn't get anywhere else. Alice became excited at the prospect of shopping for a rare accessory in a hidden marketplace accessible from a hidden island that she didn't know existed until now. Honestly, I was feeling quite confident about our chances, and I will tell you all about how things worked out next time. But before I end this evening's story, I want to talk a little bit about luck. While scientifically I'm opposed to attributing any kind of influence or nature to the forces of luck, I think this adventure in particular has softened my stance a bit on it philosophically. I told you we'd be getting into both science and philosophy on occasion. The thing is, if luck in someone's mind has a positive influence, then where's the harm? It's when someone puts themselves under a dark cloud and attributes all their trials and tribulations to bad luck, then a change to a growth rather than fixed mindset may be needed. For instance, if you're always being chased by tigers, is that because of bad luck, or because you've started a raw meat delivery service? So it all boils down to one course of action. Encourage positivity and try your best to ameliorate negativity, even if that means helping a friend continue a search for the perfect accessory when they all look pretty much the same to you. So regardless of how you feel about luck in general, remember that luck is just the passenger who doesn't even really know where he's going. The important thing is to help the person driving the car. They're in control, whether they know it or not. And if they forget that important fact, gently remind them. This way, they can finish their journey on their own and not worry so much about who's riding along with them. Good night, adventurers, and Godspeed.
The Quiet Journeys of Professor Atwood was created, written, and performed by Chris Mancini and produced by White Cat Entertainment. It is a work of fiction. Maybe. Music and sound design by Ron Tansky at rontanskymusic.com. For more info and merchandise, including t-shirts, mugs, and blankets, go to whitecatentertainment.com.